image of him gaining this weight and being, the feeling that it gave me. So we need to really focus on other things. Harvey, Irma,
Hollywood has been on edge lately, and it's no surprise considering the major changes and shocking firings happening in the film industry. Studios are having to rethink how they handle talent, especially with a wave of controversial actions and public scandals tainting some of the biggest names in the game. And one name that's been making waves, not just for his performances, but for his actions off-screen, is none other than Robert De Niro. Yes, you heard that right. Robert De Niro has been fired. But why? What led to one of Hollywood's most respected actors being removed from multiple high-profile projects? Stick around as we break down what's going on behind the scenes, the drama at Warner Brothers, and what it all means for De Niro's future in Hollywood. Robert De Niro's career is legendary. The man's work has defined the gangster genre, from The Godfather Part II to Goodfellas, not to mention his legendary role in Taxi Driver. His performances have been nothing short of breathtaking, earning him 2 Academy Awards and countless accolades along the way. There's no question about his talent. But behind the scenes, Robert De Niro has been making headlines for all the wrong reasons lately. It's no secret that De Niro has always been outspoken, but in recent years, his remarks have caused quite a stir. Whether it's his controversial comments about political figures or his on-air rants.
Yeah, I did. I was working on 1900. I had to get back. Marty and I met in Cannes to go over the script and rehearse and work on it and so on. Not work on it, writing it, but just working on the script as, just working in that sense. And because I had no time, once I finished 1900, they don't hear the truth. And I said, well, so many people are so passionate about on his side and we're on our side, but I gotta say, there is a difference. He's a criminal. Kamala Harris is not a criminal. Joe Biden is not part of a crime family.
He's become a polarizing figure in Hollywood. At one point, De Niro was known for his quiet, intense presence both on and off screen. But over time, his public persona has become more about his opinions than his acting chops. While he's still respected for his incredible body of work, his growing tendency to speak out, whether it's attacking the current political landscape, fellow actors, or public figures, has begun to overshadow his performances. And this shift in the actor's off-screen behavior has caught the attention of Hollywood studios, many of which are now questioning whether De Niro's reputation is worth the risk. This brings us to the shocking turn of events involving Warner Brothers. In the last few months, Robert De Niro found himself at the center of a major fallout with the studio. De Niro had been set to star in a major film from Warner Brothers, a mob boss movie scheduled for release in 2027. This film was a huge deal, a major blockbuster project with a star-studded cast and massive financial backing. The role of the mob boss seemed tailor-made for De Niro, allowing him to return to his roots in the genre that made him a household name. But Warner Brothers quickly realized that keeping De Niro on board might not be worth the headache. The actor's controversial statements over the past few months started to make waves.
Myers, the script, she sent it to me and offered it to me, and I knew that if she had offered it to me, she had done a lot of thinking about it before she made that decision. She's a real stickler for detail and things and this. And so I said, that makes me feel good that she really wanted me.
That moment that makes people laugh, there's one in particular where you send an email. You don't know technology. You're not good at technology in the movie, and you accidentally send an email that you should definitely not have sent. Have you ever had that experience in real life where you get that hot flash the minute you hit send?
And the studio wasn't willing to risk its multi-million-dollar investment on a PR disaster. The final straw? A particularly heated exchange between De Niro and a public figure that left Warner Brothers executives rethinking their decision. It was clear that De Niro's actions off-screen were becoming a liability, and Warner Brothers had to make the tough decision to cut him loose. The firing wasn't just about one film either. It sent shockwaves through Hollywood, signaling that studios were no longer willing to tolerate bad behavior from even their most established stars. De Niro wasn't just removed from the mob boss movie, he was also axed from Joker 3, a project that would have seen him reprise his role as Murray from the first 2 Joker films. His removal from both films, one of which was in its early stages and the other already generating tons of buzz, marked the beginning of what could be a major shift in his career. Warner Brothers' decision to fire De Niro wasn't taken lightly. After all, the actor had been a Hollywood staple for decades. But the decision had to be made. With the industry already dealing with public backlash over everything from box office failures to questionable casting choices, the studio wasn't willing to add fuel to the fire. The Mob Boss movie, which was supposed to be a cornerstone of Warner Brothers' 2027 lineup,
I can't. There's one, but it's so far back that I realized. That's when I realized that you can be. It doesn't really mean that what you're doing or what you're thinking is going to have a negative effect on the scene. Mm-hmm. But that was so long ago. It was a movie I did 40 years ago. More than 40 years ago.
could not afford to have De Niro's personal controversies attached to it. David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers, had to make a difficult call. He had to consider the image of the studio, the potential impact on the marketing campaign for the film, and how the public would react to De Niro's involvement. Warner Brothers had already seen how a PR disaster could derail a movie's success, and they weren't willing to let that happen again. The truth is, De Niro's comments had gone from controversial to downright divisive. His remarks had made headlines, but not in a way that would help promote a major film release. The studio knew they had to protect their brand, and that meant cutting ties with an actor who had become more of a liability than an asset. With De Niro out of the picture, Warner Brothers found itself in a tough position. The studio had to scramble to find a replacement for the lead role in the Mob Boss movie, and the process has not been easy. This wasn't just any film, it was a project that was already generating buzz, and the studio knew that the casting choice was crucial for its success. Finding someone to replace De Niro was no simple task. After all, this was a movie that was built around De Niro's star power.
Image of him gaining this weight and being, the feeling that it gave me, I didn't know whether using prosthetics and stuff and all that other stuff, which I've done after a little bit here and there and stuff, it's not the same. When you have that actual experience of gaining all that weight, it's very uncomfortable.
And recasting such an iconic role was always going to be a challenge. So far, Warner Brothers has faced difficulties in finding someone who could live up to De Niro's legacy. It's clear that the studio's attempts to fill the role have not gone smoothly, and it's raising questions about whether the movie will ever see the light of day. The fact that the movie is now facing the possibility of cancellation speaks volumes about how seriously Warner Brothers took this firing. They weren't just concerned about losing De Niro, they were worried about the long-term consequences for the film's success. Naturally, De Niro didn't take the firing quietly. He's been vocal about what he sees as an unfair treatment by Warner Brothers. The actor has hinted at taking legal action, claiming that the studio's decision was politically motivated and that he was being punished for simply speaking his mind. De Niro's response has added another layer of drama to an already complicated situation, and it's raised the stakes even higher. De Niro's legal threats have sent shockwaves through Hollywood. If this turns into a full-blown lawsuit, it could drag on for months.
9 hours later. And so I was shooting, so.
That's when you found out about the nomination.
Yeah, no, that's when I found out I had won.
Oh, you weren't at the show?
No,
Oh, wow, you know what? That's big time. That's when you know you're a real movie star, when you don't even go and you win.
Observing it on the news and different channels and stuff. So maybe I'm missing something. To say nothing about how Trump behaved up here. It's just inexcusable bad behavior, and I'm embarrassed by it as an American. And as I said before, I apologize for the Americans.
Adding more drama and public attention to an already scandalous situation. The actor is making it clear that he's not going to back down easily, and he's willing to fight for what he feels is right. Whether or not his case holds water remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the legal battle could keep De Niro in the headlines for months to come. But Warner Brothers isn't the only studio backing away from De Niro. Rumors are already circulating that other major studios are reconsidering their involvement with the actor. Universal is reportedly looking at dropping De Niro from an upcoming project slated for release in the next few years. Details are scarce, but insiders suggest that it's a family-friendly film, which is a far cry from the hard-edged roles that made De Niro famous. The question on everyone's mind is whether or not De Niro's career will survive this backlash. His personal controversies have started to overshadow his acting ability, and as a result, studios are starting to question whether he's worth the risk. At this point, it seems like De Niro's days as a top-tier leading man in Hollywood may be numbered, and with more and more studios pulling back from working with him, it's clear that the actor's career is at a crossroads. So, where does this leave Robert De Niro? Is he finished as a leading man in Hollywood?
And this might be the one case where that could be it for him. It's a state case. It's the least important in many ways, and yet it's the one that could be tried just on principle. And so we need to really focus on other things. Harvey, Irma, total devastation. Come on.
This seems like a moment to me where America makes a choice. Do we come together?
Or is this just a temporary setback? The truth is, no one can say for sure. But what's clear is that the Hollywood landscape is changing, and stars like De Niro, once untouchable, are no longer immune from the shifting tides. Whether or not De Niro will be able to salvage his career remains to be seen. The future looks uncertain for the actor, but one thing is certain. Hollywood is watching, and studios are sending a clear message about what they will and won't tolerate from their stars. What do you think? Is Robert De Niro's time in Hollywood over, or is this just another bump in the road? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the drama, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more updates.